Hey guys, welcome back to Real Love Scenario.
Real scenario. Hey y'all.
Real Lovers, welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Always got a song in my heart.
100%. And I
Always
love it.
got a song. Yes.
How are you doing today, Rhonda?
I am great. I am great. I'm just really grateful that today felt like a Tuesday and not a Monday. I was so nervous that it would feel like it would have a lot of Monday energy, but it did not. It felt like a Tuesday, which made for a very busy but like calm day. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
Hmm.
It's so funny that like when I have days like Monday, well, first I'm always still in the mindset of like my entrepreneurial, like when I did that for 7, 8 years, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm always surprised by like holidays. So it's like people at work be like, "Oh, we got Monday off." I'm like, "For what?" They're
Hmm.
like, "Oh, it's
Hmm.
Memorial Day, or it's this day or that day." I'm like, "Oh shoot!"
Oh, right. It's a
But
whole
it's like a
holiday.
pleasant surprise. It's like, "Yo, we off!" Like that's great. And then
Yes. Yes,
that day
it
off
is.
makes me feel like gives me that feeling again, like
Hmm.
this is what it feels like to just not actually have
Yeah.
to report in and
Hmm.
just be free with your day and do however you please. But I enjoyed my weekend.
Good.
Spent time with friends, spent time with family.
Good.
And this is random, but I really wanted a pizza, like a really good pie yesterday. And I got
Hmm.
some from this place called Andy's. It was
Very
pretty good.
nice. That's all that matters. You got what you wanted. It's the little things. It's the
It
little things.
is.
I really wanted barbecue.
Mm.
And I got that and more. I wanted me a burnt hot dog and a charred burger, and I got that and more. It was wonderful. It was
It's so
wonderful.
funny how we all have comfort food that isn't like necessarily great, but it's just like comfort for you.
Oh,
Like
oh, for sure.
Brie has this like not it's like it's one of them pizzas from Walmart. So it's like gotta be like $1.50 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
It's basically like cardboard.
Mhm.
Maybe the
Like those
cheese and
school lunch
sausage is
ones.
real. It's bad, but she's like, I hate it as a kid. It reminds me of growing up and stuff like that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't see how you eat it, but we all have that nostalgia feeling
Mhm.
when it comes to certain things. So that's
Oh,
really
for
cool.
sure.
Ain't
That's
nothing like a burnt hot
wonderful.
dog sometimes.
Ain't nothing like it. Nothing like it. Shout out to Crystal and Greg, my friends who had their annual barbecue in New York. I love you bad. I love you deep. Thank you for hosting and having me. It was wonderful. Exceeded my expectations. Far exceeded my. I love a good like cookout where they balance it out. It's like we got the grill food, but it's like some fancy stuff in here. They had salmon and shrimp and green beans. I said so
It make you feel like they care about you, right? It's like
and
y'all
do.
ain't it's like y'all ain't just give me the burger and the dog, which is nice. I appreciate
Those
that.
were the appetizers. So that's
Yeah.
what kicked things off. And then we got into the actual like menu. Yeah, it was
Mm.
great. It was great. It was great. Good times with friends and her family. And it just was great. I have no complaints other than that it's over and I'm back to the grind now.
Yeah, I saw your story and it looked like a real cookout, which is
Hmm.
like I haven't been to one of those in a long time, especially since
Yeah.
like my grandma passed and stuff like that.
Mm,
She used to do it at the house all the time, but I haven't
yeah.
been to one of them backyard. We got the mosquito candles lit,
Yeah.
back
That's why
there.
let me just say that to the people, right? Like the candles was lit and I know Greg treated the grass, but I got a couple bites, y'all. I'm not a junkie. I just got bites. I literally have bites on my cheek. Like I
Them
have bites
candles
on my
don't work, dog. They be looking at us like, you think that little flame going to stop me from coming in to this little
yeah.
slot to suck on your leg real quick?
Yeah, so that's so you see the itching, that's what it's from. It's from bites. I apologize in advance. We got some of our gang in here. I see some of our like OG real lovers in the house. I gotta shout out a
100%.
few before we get in here. Brianna D. Hey girl, hey.
What
Courtney.
up,
Hi, Courtney. Hey,
Courtney?
Brittany. And Gloria. Hey, hey.
Gloria.
So
What up,
happy to
y'all?
see you. I appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all joining us each and every week. And here's a great opportunity to like tell a friend to come and join the live as well. so we can keep the chat going. You know, we love it when you talk to us. So be sure to be tapped into tonight's scenario so you can give your thoughts and feedback.
100%. Shout out to all our real lovers out there. Like I said, if you want to join the gang, like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. Free to you. It means a lot to us.
Thank you.
And
Thank
we are
you,
happy
honey.
for the people that show up every week. Like you saw what Brittany said. She was like, she had a little cookout herself. And
Oh, perfect. Sometimes that's all it is. Yeah, the mosquitoes, they're thugs. They're thugs. Okay? Thugs they are. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
all right, Rhonda. So let's dive into our real love scenario, but it's mixed in with a real love review because the writer in said they love the show. So I'll let you read that
Yes.
part too, and we can dive into it to help
Dive
this real
right
lover out.
in. All right, let's do it. She says, I love the show and I really appreciate the space you've created for honest conversations. Thank you. I'm looking for advice on how to support a friend in a tough situation. For years, she's been pretending to be married to her ex. She wears a ring, uses his last name, and talks about him as her husband in public. Now she's even planning to speak about relationships on a podcast. But the truth is, he's been in a long term relationship with someone else, and I don't even know if he's aware of what she's doing. I think this might come from a need for acceptance or fear of facing the truth. But whatever the reason, I'm worried this lie could end up hurting her and others. I'm really torn. Do I say something and risk our friendship or stay quiet and feel like I'm enabling it? I'd really appreciate your thoughts on how to handle this with care and compassion. Thank you so much for the write-in and for the review. We appreciate the double whammy here.
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning into the show and trying to help your friend out too. We hope that we
Yes.
can help her
I
out as
love
well.
that. You know, every once in a while we get a friend writing in to help their friend and not like their own real love scenario, which I think is cool because real love is in friendship too. So we are happy to take this on. And after I read this, the first thing that came to my first thing that came to my mind was the line from Friday. You ain't gotta lie, Greg. Like what? Like
The first thing that came to my mind was there's this show on Apple TV called Servant. Have you heard
okay.
of it before?
I no, I don't maybe. Lead actress is fair skin, curly hair.
No, that's
No, okay.
Surface. That's
That's
Surface.
okay. I was like, it sounds so familiar. Okay.
Surface
It's a
is
show.
good.
Okay.
Different. The words are very similar though, so you weren't
Right.
too far off. You weren't too
Yes,
far
yeah.
off at
I
all.
started Surface, but I got away from it.
Got you.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of a show called Servant on Apple TV. And let me just say this: for certain shows, there's a time limit. There's spoilers in here. If you ever wanted to watch it, you could have watched it already. It's been out for years. So I'm just going to tell you why it reminded me of it. So basically, the plot of the show is that this woman starts off during the show like caring for this baby, but then you find out early on that it's a fake child, but she's operating with the doll as if it's like a real child.
Ooh.
And basically, how she got to that point, there's a lot of other stuff that that's involved with the show because
Mhm.
what makes it a twist is that they hire a nanny, but the husband knows it's a doll. Basically, she left her kid in the car, the real baby, and the baby died. And
Okay.
mentally, she couldn't deal with like the
Mhm.
pain and hurt from it. So it was like a temporary thing from the therapist to put a doll in the place of the baby to make her psychologically feel like the baby was still here. But
Okay.
it lasted years,
She
and
took it
the
too far.
husband has to like still think there's a baby. Um, but the whole show is like a nanny comes in, and then when she picks up the baby just becomes real. So they're trying to figure out like where she get this baby from. It's a crazy show, but
Sounds like it.
it made me think of this scenario because the lady didn't have a real baby, but she was acting like she had a real baby. And in this
Yeah.
scenario, this woman don't seem to have a husband, and the
Nope.
husband seems to move on, but she's acting as if she has a husband. So that was
Yeah.
the first thing that came to mind was that show. Shout out to anybody if you've seen it.
That
But
is
this
crazy.
is a very interesting situation, Rhonda.
Interesting is such a interesting word because yeah, this is like probably a first for me. Like I've never heard of someone like just full blown lying and saying that you are like married to a person that you're not even in a relationship with. Like, I've seen people do that. Like the couple, they will say that they're married when they aren't like legally married, but but they'll say that to other people, maybe to more so substantiate their relationship, but they actually are together. But to say that you are married to someone, wearing a ring, calling yourself Mrs. whatever his last name is, when you aren't even in a relationship with him.
Like I can even see that if the husband passed away, right? Because then maybe you're still trying to deal with that. You don't want to have the conversation. It's part of your
Mhm,
grieving process, part of your
mhm,
letting go process. But to have the man still be alive is a whole nother thing. Um, the the thing that I always question in situations like this, right?
mhm.
Especially from a friend standpoint, and she didn't give enough detail to really know this, is that does your friend really believe this, or are they aware of what they're doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, all right, if we have the conversation and it's just you and me, like, hey, listen, nobody else here. It's just us.
Mhm.
You're not married, right? And then
Right.
and she's like, yeah, no, I'm not married. Of course, he's off with so and so, but I'm just not
Mhm.
ready to tell the world. And it's embarrassing. And it's
Yeah.
that you still need
Yeah.
help if that's your case.
It's
But at least,
okay.
but at least I know there's a little
You
logic.
still crazy.
You still a little crazy, but at least I know there's a little like you understand what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you're like, all
Mhm.
right, I am still actively, trying to get over this situation.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you tell me nobody here and this is me and you like, no, I'm
Mhm.
married, and I'm
Yeah.
looking at you like, no, you're not, and you still believe you're married, and that's a whole nother level of delusion.
I just even that, right? Like I get that. It's like the story from the show you said. Like, like you're holding on to something or someone that you lost traumatically. You know what I mean? Like if your partner passed away and you're going through grief in a very strong sense. And like I can understand that to some degree, but I still would struggle with the idea of you saying or like speaking about it as if it's an active situation. You know what I mean? Like I think, like for example, my dad died. He's my father, period. When he was alive, he was my father. When he died, he was my father. So if I speak of him, he's my dad. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is. But to speak of him like, oh, me and my dad hung out yesterday, or me and my father did something, when it's like that's just a bald-faced lie. His relationship to me doesn't change in his death. So if I was married and my husband died, well, he was my husband when he passed away. You know what I mean? I wouldn't call him my ex-husband. I would still call him my husband. And I probably would call him that until I was remarried. Like
Yeah.
if I got remarried. I also would at some point, I think once I got through the grief, I would refer to him as my late husband, right? Especially if I was trying to date again. If I go outside and I'm saying my husband, people are going to think that he's actively in my life, and he's not outside of a spiritual and emotional connection to him. So I think this is so incredibly different, where clearly this man is alive and well, not in a relationship with the friend, but the friend is just telling people that she's Mrs. Him, and going as far as wearing a ring and talking about him as if they're together. It's just a level of what in the entire FUCK are you doing? Like, and why?
Yeah, as we look at this, I know she said her ex-husband, so that's us assuming that they actually did get divorced, right? Because
She says ex. She does
yeah.
not say husband. So I don't know.
Oh, so that's the thing, right? I've actually seen this before. Uses the last name, that's not weird, right? You could be married and people who
If
divorce
you were married
still,
to him and that's your legal name, then fine.
yeah.
But I feel
Um,
like she's calling that out specifically because that was not her last name. Like this was not her husband. She wears a ring, uses his last name. That's giving That's not your last name, sis, and that never was your last name, girl.
But you know, Rhonda, I ain't gonna. Y'all would never know who this person is, and I'm not gonna even put any association to it.
Oh,
But
God.
I've been to a full-on wedding, part of what seemed to be a wedding party, taking photos for the wedding and everything, full ceremony, reception, and them
Mm-hmm.
folks never got married. Like never. We found out years later they never actually got legally married,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's situations where people be out here.
Yes, and again, if with that, I can understand that was the very first scenario I gave. If you and your partner are lying about being legally married to each other, I mean, it's still crazy, but it's not that crazy. At least you're together. At least you are actively in a relationship. I assume you probably are even wearing rings. For God's sake, you threw a whole party. You threw a whole party and said you were married. But to say you're in a relationship with someone that's not in a relationship with you, that's not lying for you, that's not lying with you, they just off in their own life, and you in a whole nother city, like, yeah, that's my husband, that's my husband, that's my husband. And I will say the friend did give us some additional context that she asks that we don't share on air because I think she's scared that it will give off too many clues.
Yeah,
But the friend is able to get this lie off because the ex and her do not live in the same place. So and she doesn't post him or anything like that, which that just leads me into a whole nother story, right? About this is why I'm not a fan of the idea of like, oh, we're just extra private. Listen, I can't stop anybody from doing what they want to do. If being extra private in your relationship works, great. But for me and mine, I don't necessarily want my relationship to be a brand, and I'm not mad at anybody that does that. But I also don't want it to not look like I'm in a relationship when I am. I also don't want it to appear that my partner is like in a whole nother place or like I'm lying about having one. And it's not so much to prove anything to anyone, but I do think that it can serve as a form of accountability because you can just get away with stuff. You can just weave an entire story, which you can do on the gram as well. But it's just, I think she's also able to get this off because she doesn't post about him. He lives in a different place for different reasons. So she can kind of hide behind, well, we're just in a long distance relationship. And so that's why we don't have pictures together, why we don't post together. And it's like, weird, babe. Very weird.
yeah, yeah, 100%. But I think we can acknowledge, like I say, either even if she knows she's doing it or if she doesn't know she's doing it,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little delulu, and she probably needs some help either way.
Yes.
But I think the biggest thing with this, which is a real conversation that I see a lot of people have when it comes to writing into different scenarios. And we had talked about it. Make sure y'all go tune in to Dear to See It that's coming out. That's going to be
Mm-hmm,
on the
mm-hmm.
Relationship Restored Network. We had talked about this
Yes.
on that show. Um, is boundaries with friends,
Mm.
right? It's like, what's that song? Is it How Do I Save You From You? Is that Tank? Uh,
I don't know that one.
I think it Fall for Your Type. I think that's the beginning of the song. But
Oh, yeah.
um
Mhm.
can I
I know
can
that
I
one.
save you from you? Yeah, there's something like
Mm-mm.
that. But
Okay.
it's like, as a friend, when do you cross that boundary of like trying to save your friend from themselves, right? Do you
Mm-hmm.
let them continue on their path and learn their lesson, or do you interject and try to save them even if they don't feel like they want saving in this moment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like, well, I'll leave it there for you because I'll let you get in your friend in bag to unpack that situation.
Listen, I have a lot of experience in friendship. And when I say a lot of experience, I don't just mean I've had friends for a long time. I mean, I've actually weathered some storms with my friends. And this is not exactly one that I've weathered, but certainly the idea around your friend is moving in a way that feels counterintuitive, feels dangerous for them, or you feel like they're doing something that is better than they are, or again, dangerous for them. I've been there and I've been there more than one time. at this point in my life, and probably for the last 10 years, I find it incredibly important for my real friendships to have a sense of accountability. Like that's a part of the relationship. Like if I'm calling you like my friend, like my true friend, accountability is one of the things that makes the relationship healthy and not just fun and good. Because yes, we can just go and have a good time and grab a drink and watch a show together. We can do that stuff very easily, but it's necessary for me to have a friend in my life that I trust would tell me the truth if I can't see it for myself. But a friend that can also respect my decisions. So there is a balance here. But I don't want any yes friends, and I haven't wanted yes friends. I, I don't know if I ever wanted that. I can't think of a time that I ever wanted that. But again, in the last 10 years, most distinctively, that's just not something that I want. So I think it is important for you to be able to create a space with your friend to say, hey, I know that you're doing this, or I see you moving like this, and I'm concerned, and you have to be really mindful about how you approach these conversations if the goal is to ultimately maintain your friendship and get them to hear what you're saying. But I don't think it's a good idea to just act like you don't see it and ultimately enable the behavior. And the last thing I'll add, the asterisk to that is, but you can't control anyone, your friends included. So once you communicate your feelings, once you acknowledge and try to have the conversation with them, some friends, it might be more than one conversation. But I will say belaboring it or trying to force them to do it, it's just not going to happen. And so at that point, it's on you. You know what I mean? Like, you've said your piece, you've explained yourself, you've said this is coming from a place of love and you're being supportive. But if they are like, yeah, I don't care, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and it's again a dangerous situation that makes you uncomfortable or dangerous to your nervous system, it's time for you to do the adjusting, not for them to do the adjusting.
100%. I think here's the
Mhm.
question though. Here's the question. I just
Mhm.
thought of this, Rhonda. Here's the
Mhm.
question.
Okay.
If your friend is going through something or doing something that you know is going to end up bad, you can see it, but they're emotionally caught up and deep into something to where they can't see it themselves.
Mhm.
As a friend, is your job to be the life jacket or the lifeguard? So, am I
Ooh.
there to prevent you from drowning, or I'm there to save you when you start drowning? Is my job to be one versus the other? Is my job to be both? Because sometimes I have trouble if I told you to wear the life jacket, but you also want me to be the lifeguard.
And you jumped your
When you
little stupid
refuse,
tail in that water without that jacket on.
I tried to be the life jacket and tell you before this, if you're going to do this, this is what you need to look out for. This you need to take care of. It's deep waters, it's rough seas.
Mhm.
You shouldn't do it in the first place. But you don't want to listen to me. But then when you help, help, then you want me to come out. All right, let me save you. And wow, and what happens when you saving somebody? You getting splashed,
You
right?
getting
Your
drowned.
head getting drugged underwater. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Like,
You're getting drowned. That was one of the first lessons I learned when I took swimming classes a few years ago. Yes, I just learned how to swim. Surprise. Um, that was one of the first lessons the coach taught us in class, that under no circumstances were we allowed to try to save someone who appeared to be drowning, because the physical strength of a person who is drowning is like 2 to 3 times their natural strength. Because they are trying to save themselves so badly, they can, and it has happened so many times, they have killed the person who is saving them because they're pushing them down in order to get above them to get themselves out of the water. And so I say that to say there is a time and a place for it all, but sometimes the person you are going to be is the EMT, the one that's at the end after you jumped in the water without the life jacket, then started to drown, and then some lifeguard came and got you. You really the person at the end, like, you all right? Like, let's check your pulse. You good? Like, get you over to get you a little snack or something, like get you over to the people that can really help you. I'm gonna take you from the beach to the hospital, because we are not here to be every single thing to all of the people in our lives. The reality that, I mean, the truth is this: I don't have all of the skills to help and fix and save my friends. Hell, some days I don't even have all of that for myself.
a hundred
I
percent.
have to go and get help from other people and tap into other resources and people who are paid thousands of dollars to actually be the lifeguards and the life jackets. Is not totally up to me. So I think, to just truly answer your question, it depends on the situation. But I think when you again see that somebody is doing something and they are drowning themselves, you told them to put that life jacket on, and they still got in that water knowing they couldn't swim. Thank God they're not truly drowning, because you don't ever want to let your friend literally die. But sometimes you have to let your friends die in their stupid ass situation so that they learn. Like, no different than with kids. You're gonna tell them, don't touch your stove, don't touch your stove, don't touch your stove. One day you gotta let them get burned. No lesson is better than the actual than that actual one.
100%. And the unfortunate thing is that in some of these situations in real life, it is life or death at times,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
If people
yeah.
are going, we've talked to people that deal with abusive situations and things like
Hmm.
that. It's like, it can be a life or death situation, and it's really sad, but it's tough. I hope with that scenario, people, because a lot of times when we're in something, we don't truly understand because we have our emotions tied to things. But understand, what you're sometimes putting your friends through or what position you're putting your friends in,
Oof,
right? Like you
oof.
have to be cognizant of that because
Hmm.
we all want to do things in a preventative manner and a preventative
Yeah,
way.
well.
But asking somebody to come save you, right? Emotionally dumping a situation constantly, 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 having to be
Hmm.
the person to, come get you at 2 o'clock in the morning or come pick you up or do this. It's like, that's a lot that you're asking of somebody.
It
Right.
is. And in some ways, like you said, it's such an emotional toil when you really love someone. Like, friendships are it's a lot of love and true friendships. And it's like, you almost can sometimes feel like, do you love the person more than they love themselves? But what I do know, like, and throwing some grace to it, is that sometimes it's very hard to see the reality of a situation when you're standing in the middle of it. Sometimes
A
it's
100%.
super hard for you to see clearly in that way. And so I think that's when, to Gloria's point, try both. I think that's when it's like, you try to throw caution to the wind, like, hey, I know that you probably really can't see this because you're in love with him, or you've been dealing with her for a long time, so you don't see it the way that I see it. But have you ever considered this? I love posing my suggestion as a question. I think I've gotten that from therapy going to therapy over the years. Is a lot of times that's how therapists approach those conversations, like asking you an assumptive question just to get you to think, like, have you ever thought about how this will have an impact on you long term? Or, do you think that you should be crying this much in a relationship? Or have you ever considered what would happen if people found out you were lying about being married to somebody that you're not actually married to? Because it's not even just about the damage to, his reputation potentially, or causing drama in his new relationship, but it can make you just look like a liar in general. Like, if you lied about that, what else are you lying about? Asking your friend, like, have you ever thought about, like, the fact that people are gonna think, like, damn, at this point, I think you a liar. Totally. Like, is that really what you want your reputation to be? And so, yeah, man, it's hard. Relationships are a lot to manage, friendships included. And I've preached that for a long time. We think that they're all just fluffy and social activities, but they're not. It is a relationship. And I appreciate this real lover writing and trying to figure out what to do to really try to get through to her friend.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with Gloria. It says, like, as a friend, try both.
Yeah.
I think with different levels of friendship, you probably get different stages of that, right? I think
Hmm.
if somebody is truly close to you, truly connected to you, a very close friend or family member, then they
Hmm.
played all the roles, right? They've been the life jacket person, they've been the
Hmm.
lifeguard person, they've been the EMT person, they've done it all, right? But
Yeah.
depending on the type of friends that you have different friends that play different roles. Like,
Yeah.
I know I have friends to where it's like we have history, but not as close. So I'm not there to play the life jacket role, right? And I might not even be able to be the lifeguard, right?
Yeah.
But if you were really down bad and you like needed something, I got you, right?
Yes.
And I can be
Yeah.
that. And then there's other people who will play the preventative role, but they
Mhm.
ain't deep enough friends with you to to bring you back to life or jump in the water and risk their life to emotionally, rescue
Nope.
you or anything like that. But I
That's
think
it.
those truly close people do play all those roles or try to play all those roles as best as possible. So I think the person who wrote in, I don't know how close you truly are to this person, but if this is
Mhm.
somebody you love, somebody that you care about, um, then I feel like you have to address it, right? But
Yeah.
this is the next thing, right? And we talk about this in relationships. Good communication isn't just honest communication, it isn't open communication, it's effective communication, which is
Yeah.
the person receiving what you have to say. So
Mm.
being right is just one half of it. Like
Mhm.
you have to figure out how you're going to communicate to her in a way
Yeah.
that she's truly going to see it and understand it and really digest what you have to say. Because if you
Yes.
come at her wrong with no tact or no strategy of how you want to
Yeah.
approach it, you're wasting your time. Because and you might actually have that person double down because we've all been there, probably show of
Ooh.
hands, to where you
Yeah.
tell a friend something and the way you may have delivered it or said it has them shun you out, right? The person that's trying to
You've been
help.
kicked out the palace.
You kicked out the group for trying to help them
Mhm.
and hold them accountable, and now
Yep.
they are fully faced the other way, almost in rebellion of what you're trying to tell them or what you're trying to help them with. So you got to try to be as strategic as possible in how you deliver that message.
That's so true. I have to share Brittany's comment here because this is a way, this is something that I think you can even incorporate when you go to have this conversation with your friend. Brittany says she's also blocking her black blessings, and not just in a relationship, but she's blocking her true peace and happiness. I cannot agree with this more. If you've ever told a lie, okay? It is very likely that you have to tell more than one lie to keep up with the last lie, to keep up with the last lie. And one thing that I can tell you for sure, there's nothing peaceful about having to manage lies. Like, it is exhausting, it's an extra job. And as much as it feels like all cutesy when you're capping to the people, when you really sit with yourself, there's no way that you feel happy, because if you felt happy with like who you are and the life that you have, you wouldn't make up one. You wouldn't come up with an alternative story. You wouldn't say I'm this when you're actually that. You would not do that. And so I think that is a really good point to actually add to the conversation when our real lover goes to approach it. Like, you have no idea like what you're keeping yourself from by acting like you're in a relationship. What about the person that's out there that might want you? Like, you're making it seem like you're taking when you're actually like not taking. And that's just again, it's strange. And I'm gonna call it what it is. I don't usually make these types of comments about people, but it's strange, it's
It
delusional,
is.
it's weird, it's crazy.
But the thing is that she don't care, right? Because I think most people, I would like to say, aren't gluttons for punishment, right? They don't want to
Hmm.
feel bad, they don't want to be sad, so they're going to, as flawed as their thinking may be, try to optimize their life for the most joy and happiness that they feel like they can have, right?
Hmm.
So if she felt like peace was on the other side of letting this situation go, in her mind, in that
Mm.
situation, she probably
Yeah.
would have done it, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, she feels like the best path forward for her peace and happiness are tied to this
Yes. Dirty
delusion or this fantasy,
lie. Yeah.
um which is unfortunate. And that's part of like why Rhonda brought up a great point of saying like, I don't even have I'm not even equipped to to help you as a friend
Mhm.
really unpack this. I can tell you that through my experience in living life that this probably isn't the best way to go about things, right?
Mhm.
And one thing I'll say too that you could help that can help you when talking to your friend, and it's something I do now, I've even said on the show, is that figure out why your friend is saying what they're saying, right? Or and doing what they're doing. But it's
Mhm.
always how you're framing things, right? It's less of like, all right, what do you ultimately want? Okay, you tell me what you want. It's not like this taking this action will get you what you want and taking this action won't get you what you want. It's really about what gives you the best odds to give you what you want, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Not a specific action will do it. What gives you the best chance of giving what you
Mhm.
want, right? You want
Mhm.
a happy, healthy relationship. You want somebody who loves you and cares about you. You're obviously not getting it from your husband or your ex, right? What
Right.
gives you the best odds of getting that for yourself? And
Yeah.
it's probably letting go of the situation, taking off the ring, not, you know, showing up, having a perception that you're already in a relationship or that
Mhm.
you're married. It's probably moving on. Now, does that guarantee that? No, because we
No.
can't guarantee anything, but
Right.
it will give you the best odds in order to achieve that thing that you want. So if we always look at things as like what gives us the best odds, then we'll probably make better decisions, because if we go with guarantees, we can always find a different situation that worked in the opposite way that can say like, oh, there's an example of how it worked for somebody else. I'm the special one, right?
Yeah.
But in everything throughout life, it's mostly about the odds that you'll be able to achieve things or not achieve things. And, you
Mhm.
know, that's how you should look at it.
I'm telling you, nailed that. You nailed that. I want to jump into this part where she talks about her friend is about to be on a podcast. It sounds like she's maybe invited to be a guest, or she says she's even planning to speak about relationships on a podcast. Um, you know, as podcasters,
Yes.
Dre and I have a little experience in this realm, and I won't speak for both of us when I say this, but I'm pretty sure my friend agrees with me that when you decide to put yourself out there, and you become public facing, and you're sharing advice from a place of lived experience, to me, it's only a matter of time before people will see through inauthenticity. If you do not have a desire to be truly who you are, and live in your truth and stand in your truth, again, it's only a matter of time. And I even think, even if you are having some success with it, like with your lies, if you're propping those up and putting them on a platform, y'all have seen people do it a lot. Say that they're this, say that they're that, but they're actually not none of those things. I still think while there's audience there, people who recognize genuine, like authentic energy and genuine care and concern, like you can just feel that. Like there are just some things. I don't care what the presentation is. I can literally tell that this ain't no something about this. What Dr. Alfie say? Nothing is wrong with something ain't right. Like you could just tell, and I pride myself. And if you've been here the entire time, which our 3-year anniversary is literally around the corner, that's like so
It's so
crazy.
crazy.
But if you've been here this entire time, you've likely heard me say, I'll raise my hand, I'll put my hand up and say, yes, I did that. Yes, I've lied. Yes, I've cheated. Yes, I've yelled at my partner. Yes, I've made mistakes in relationships, but what I've also done is loved hard. I've been a good woman. I've been loyal. I've been faithful. I've done a lot of things. Okay. But I'm going to be honest about that, because I don't know how else you learn or even build genuine connection with someone in this space through lies. Like, again,
Yeah.
I don't want to keep up with lies. You know what I mean? Like, I've been there and I've done that, and it's not fun. So even if that wasn't on the table, please don't come into our space that is already, sometimes challenging to manage in a way that is with integrity and morality. Please don't come in this water that's already a little murky, bringing no new lies, sis. Like, please. We don't need that. I speak for the community when I say stay on the outside. Okay.
100%. Especially when it's like we can put two and two together now. Like
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
if it don't take much research to see probably that this ain't a real situation. Like you can't tell me how in love you are and how great your marriage is and your relationship is, and that person ain't even on your social media page, right? and that person ain't even tagged. I don't see them like it. I don't see them comment nothing. Like it. Come on now.
It's
Um,
Casper.
is this person real? Is this relationship real?
Right.
So it's like
Yeah.
we can sense those things, and we definitely don't need that out in this uh atmosphere when it comes to a podcasting space. But I got
I
a question for
agree.
you too. But we could shout
Yeah.
out Brianna real quick
Thank
for
you, Brianna, for saying we are both
yeah,
very
we
authentic and
appreciate it.
relatable. We appreciate that. That's what we're doing here. And I was gonna say that's what we're trying to do, but we're not trying to do that. We just being ourselves.
Yeah.
That's why you like it. So we appreciate that.
It's so crazy too. It's a side note, but that
Hmm.
a conversation that Rhonda and I, or conversations that and I used to have just at work with
Hmm.
me laying on the floor. Um, some
In my
people
office. Yeah.
in the office just talking made its way into a show that's been one of the top relationship shows on podcasting. That's like
That is
insane that
crazy.
it has reached
That's
this point, and that's really
exactly how it started.
really cool. But my question is like, have you been around your friend when they are just audibly and noticeably just capping right in front of your face, and you know they are, and you looking at them as they talking to other people like,
Hmm.
huh,
That's crazy.
did not even know that about you.
Yeah.
That's new.
Yeah.
But how long could you be a friend with somebody who is like doing that on a normal basis? Because I feel like I had a friend like that, but after a while, I was just like, yeah, this is just don't feel like somebody
No.
I need to be around.
No.
Because it's like, for what? Especially when it be like stupid stuff too. And it's like, why lie about that?
Yeah, I couldn't. Like, I really couldn't because depending on what the lie is, like, it has to be an extremely white lie for me to just not even say nothing to you after the fact. I'm probably not going to say it in front of people, especially if it's mixed company and everybody in the space isn't all friends. But yeah, I'm just gonna say to you, like, why did you lie about that? Like, if I know that you're lying, like, I'm legitimately curious. Like, why are we lying about things? Like, again, in a friend space like this, you're not at work where like you like, I'm sick, and you're not actually sick and you need a day off. Like, this is not that. Like this is, you should be able to be yourself and like be real about it. And honestly, maybe this is just a quick little tidbit of advice. If you are around friends and you feel the need to lie for the purpose of keeping up or being impressive, those probably aren't your people. You know what I mean? Like, that's those probably are not your people. The best thing about my relationships with my friends is that I can be myself. Like, I can say, yes, I did that, or no, I don't feel that way, or like I'm hurting about this, or yeah, that was a stupid decision and I did it. Like
Yeah,
I want to be me.
you value, and that's why as you get older, you should be thankful. And I learned this. You should be thankful that your friend circle shrinks.
Mm, that
Like,
bing bong.
you get upset because at a younger age you have proximity friends, right? People that
Hmm.
you go to school with every day, people that you're in college with every day, people at work, all these different things, right? But as you grow and start being more intentional in your relationships, you'll start to learn that there are only a select group of people that I actually even feel comfortable being myself around. And
Hmm.
if I show my true self, they're okay with that person,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's like, even we've all told the lie probably that we've seen a movie we didn't see, that we
Yeah.
saw a show that we didn't show you go to, that we may have visited a place that we never visited, or somebody talking and they say something and we like, yeah, I know who that is, and we
Yeah.
don't know who they is. And
Right.
it's because in that moment we're talking to people that we're trying to fit in with in some
Hmm.
way, shape, or form.
Hmm.
But you want to have that friend to where you like, I ain't seen Friday. What?
Yeah.
But it's
Okay.
just
Let me
like,
tell you, or
we
let's
gonna joke
watch it
on you a
now.
little bit, but we gonna like, it's gonna be all in fun, and we ain't gonna look
That's
at you
it.
crazy or look at you any type of way. I've seen Friday, by
Hmm.
the way.
Yeah.
But
You know.
just an example, it's like one of those things to where it's like you want people that you can truly be yourself around,
Yes.
and they don't judge you or look at you any type of way. And that's why I remember telling Bree that I was like, a lot of these people out here ain't your friends.
Mhm.
You know, you have a select group of people, and because a lot of these people ain't your friends, don't tell all these people your business.
That's it.
Because even if you make a mistake, they're gonna damn you to hell for a mistake you made, because they don't truly know the heart of who you are, because they're not your friend. Your
Yeah.
friend could see you make a mistake and be like, I know that person's heart. They ain't mean to do that.
Mhm.
Or I know that they work on themselves. So even if they made the mistake, they're gonna go back and, you know, work on it. Or I know them
Yeah.
well enough that, hey, they're the type of person that if you went up and talked to them and told them that's how it made you feel, they would
Yeah.
be like, oh, I'm sorry, I did not mean to make you feel that way, and try to rectify the situation. But
Yeah.
everybody ain't your friend,
Yeah.
right? Our
That's it.
mamas told us that a long time ago. But as you get older,
Not only
you
was she not
realize
your little friend, neither were they.
yeah, you realize that these people aren't your friends. Like, people
Yeah.
are in proximity with you, and they attach to you for so many different reasons that you don't
Mhm.
even know and you can't even fathom. Like, one of the worst things is people can be jealous of you and be right next to you, and that's
Mhm.
why they attracted to you, and that's why they want to stick to you. So it's like so many reasons. So be careful who you divulge information to, who you
Yeah.
talk to about things that are going on in your life, because
Yeah.
everybody is not your friend.
That's it. Listen, y'all getting a lot of friendship gems in this episode tonight. Y'all are getting a lot of them, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it so much. I want to share this comment because I feel like it's going to segue us into just some final thoughts around why this might be happening and really how to help our real lover navigate this conversation with her friend. But Gloria says maybe there was an emotional breakdown for her and she doesn't want to accept it. Talking about the friend who's lying about being married to someone and is not even in a relationship with them, let alone married to them. I just kept thinking to myself, like, outside of just on the surface calling this person crazy and delusional and a liar, which to me, all of those things are relatively true. There has to be some deeper reason as to why you would do something like this, right?
Yeah. Sorry, another question popped in my head
It's okay.
around friendship.
Hmm.
I don't want to interrupt what you were about to say, so
Okay, I'll
I'll keep it in
remember.
my mind. Oh,
You
you'll
sure?
remember?
I'll
Okay.
remember.
Okay. With a friendship, do you what if you've come to the conclusion that you have based off of information you weren't supposed to have?
If you've come to a conclusion about your friend based on information you have but weren't supposed to have.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's part of what could be a difficult way to have the conversation, because
Mhm.
maybe you came about information that wasn't shared from you from the person, but
Right.
something that was discovered in other ways.
Yeah.
Do you then still address it? Because part of the shutdown with the friendship, right, could be that they're just mad that you either looked up if they legally got married, or if you got information through somebody
Mhm.
else and you were snooping
Yeah.
to figure out something because you as a friend said this don't something not making sense, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But do like have you ever been in that situation where you
Yes.
like
And you know I've been in that situation. Which we
like how do
can't
you
we
handle that from our friendship expert here?
Imma hold my own hand when I say this. Um, I don't think that anything that I'm not supposed to know, I find out about. So I'm gonna say that again. If I'm not supposed to know, I'm not gonna find out. That's really how I feel about it. So if it came to me, or if I gently pursued it and I found the information out, something something created that feeling, or someone brought me information for a reason. So it's like there was and listen, if that's what the relationship is going to fall out over, is that I found out the information or it was brought to me, then I'm going to have to take the L. And I'm not saying that lightly, because losing a friend that you didn't expect to lose, it sucks. Especially if it's someone that was in your life, you were very, very close to them. Maybe your families are joined in some ways, the relationship, far extended friendship, it became family. But sometimes you learn that this relationship is not for forever. You don't know that in the midst of it. In the midst of it, you think best friends to the end. You know what I mean? You of course think that. You think that about almost all relationships. I think the only relationships we have an expectation that we're going to like lose the person and we accept it is like your parents. I think all of us think about, maybe not excessively, like, yo, one day this person will again always be my parent, but they're probably going to pass away, my parent, my grandparent, that's going to happen. But it's like this idea that the bestie is just like, it's just going to be forever and ever. Yeah, you think it, but then some things happen, and then that's not the case anymore. So I believe that what I'm supposed to know is going to come to me. I don't necessarily go pursuing information personally, but if something comes to me, I was supposed to know. And in the situation, I'm trying to figure out how to say this without saying it. In the situation where that happened to me relatively recently, the person who brought the information to me, I was honest with them that, like, now that you told me this, if this comes up with me and the person, I am going to tell them that you told me, right? Like, let's just let's just get it out now. You know what I mean? Like,
So
if you're gonna,
we both might be out of friend, just to
that's
let you
it.
know.
This might be a 1-2 punch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, because if you really were trying to salvage what is, I guess, a bit of a fake friendship in the first place, you wouldn't have told me. You would have kept it to yourself. There are things that I have several mutual friends, and I pride myself on being a safe space for all of them. And sometimes one is talking about the other. I've come to accept that. That's just going to happen. It is my job to be as neutral as possible, to promote togetherness as much as possible, and most importantly, to not carry bones between the two of them, especially if I want them to do what's right, to go to each other and talk to each other about it. I'll always say, you can I'm here to listen, but I can't fix it. You got to talk to her, or you got to talk to him. You got to call them directly. So if you didn't want me to make a decision based on the information that you provided to me, you shouldn't have told me, because call it throwing you under the bus, but boop boop, we on the bus, baby. It is what it is. I don't know what to say to you about that. And some, that might be an unpopular take. Some people might feel like that's messed up. I had no business knowing, but I'm sorry if I happened upon my friend lying about being married to someone. If you want to split hairs about
How
why
I
did you
found out.
find that out versus your ass lying about it, then cool. We don't need to be friends anyway. That's fine. Fine. Fine by me. Fine by me.
Thank you for answering that. All right, you
No,
go
that's
to
okay. I
your
was just gonna
wrap up.
say, like, thinking about why somebody would really do something like that, and it kind of, I don't want to say it makes me sad, but it makes me deeply concerned. Like, why you would do such a thing, why you would literally create this concept of a relationship, and how tough it must be for you to like face yourself, right? Like, to fix your mouth to lie in any capacity, whether you're not lying to your friends, but you're lying to your coworkers, or you're not like about being married, or you're not lying to your mom about it because your mom, I'm sure, truly knows, but you're lying to your church friends or whoever you are lying to. It says that you, I said this earlier in the episode, it says that you are truly not happy with who you are, even with the voids in your life. Listen, I want several things for my life. I want to be very wealthy. I want to be married, and I want a child of my own, but nothing about those desires will make me act like I have them when I do not. That it's just nothing about me wanting it so badly that I would sit here and be like, I have it. I'm a millionaire. It's like, but I'm not. And no, nothing about that feeds me, because even without those things, I am fulfilled. Even without those things, I am whole. Those things are additions to my life. Those things would be beautiful blessings to my life. And as most people would say, oh, they will complete me. But the truth is, they won't complete me. I complete myself. And all of the rest of that is just a means of extraness, is of abundance, of joy or purpose in a different way. Having a child is a purpose, like I'm taking on a responsibility. That's honestly going to subtract from my life for a good chunk of my life, from
Yeah.
taking over my body, to taking over my money, to taking over my time. But at some point, it's a purposed job. I'm here to bring life into this world and to create a human being that will be a blessing to the world. So all of these things, I see them as abundance, and in no way would I manufacture a life that I don't actually have, because I am truly fulfilled in what I have and who I am. And so that's just for anybody, any real lover that's listening right now on the live or listening to this on the playback. Lying about or lying and saying you have things that you don't, won't make it any more real. It's still not there. You still don't have it. And so it's really about like digging deep and figuring out what's the void in you that makes you feel like you have to lie about having something that you don't really have. I think if you start the question there, it should take you on a journey to figure out, well, why am I doing that? What am I afraid of facing about myself? What am I missing, or how am I not loving or supporting me? My therapist tells me regularly, you have grace for a lot of people, and I want you to work a lot harder at having it on for yourself. Like, it's just so, that's a good question to just start with, like, why am I doing this? Like, I know you're challenging to the friend to ask the friend, why are you doing this? But I hope that the friend will just get reflective with themselves and find a mirror and say, like, why am I doing this? Like, what is this doing for me?
I don't gotta say nothing else on that. I feel like you covered it. When it comes to the friend, the first question is, I mean, the first thing I'll just say to answer the question of how you approach your friend is, like I said, just be smart in how you do it. Make sure it's in an environment to where it doesn't feel like you're trying to attack her. I would encourage not to make it feel like it's intervention either, or something like that, right? Maybe
Mhm.
it's just y'all do dinner, maybe y'all go grab a drink, maybe y'all do coffee, and make it just part of the catch up, right? Like, you catch
Yeah.
up on things, you talk about things, and then you just present the simple question is like I always wanted to ask you, like, why are you still wearing a ring with
Mhm.
so and so? Or you can put it in a way, it's like, have you talked to so and so lately? Like, you try to find a way to bring it up, because I
Yeah.
don't want her not to hear you. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. Like, I don't want you to come off firing just because you're right. We know it isn't right. I don't want you to just come off firing, just like, you shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong. You know what this is doing for you. If you want better, like, all those things are true, but you got to figure out, knowing your friend and how your friend receives information and how your friend
Mhm.
takes in things, their temperament. Like, you have to figure out the way to kind of package it so that she can receive it. But 100%, if that's your friend, if the question is, do I say something? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Because one thing I'll leave us with is one thing I've learned. I learned in high school very early on, when a guest speaker came to my high school and talked. And it's simple, but it's that you cannot control the consequences of your actions.
Mm.
Like, everybody thinks that when they do something, they know it's going to be either A, B, or C. Like, these are the options that could happen, right?
Yeah.
These are the only possibilities, but you don't know what could happen, right? Like, you
Mhm.
don't know what acting like you're married or anything, acting like that man is still your husband, what that means and what
Yeah.
could happen. You could think it's no harm, no foul. That man could be in a long-term relationship. The wife find out, and any, like, pull up on you, so
Mhm.
like anything could
Mhm.
happen. Like, you don't know. So the goal is not to put yourself in any situation as much as possible to where you could be a recipient of those unexpected
Yeah.
consequences.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And the only thing I'll add to that, or really just reiterate what Dre said. I think people think that being honest means that you have to be like harsh, or that you have to be blunt. Like, people love to say, I'm just honest, because they package things in a very sharp way. You do not have to be harsh to tell the truth. You can absolutely be honest with someone. And I think when you open your heart to someone and explain to them that this is coming from a place of care, this is coming from a place of genuine love for you, of genuine concern for you. It is not coming from a place of um, shaking my finger at you to tell you what to do. It is to say, like, hey, I'm just concerned about you, and like, I care about you. I'm just curious, like, what's going on with this? It's really figuring out how to be honest, but help them get on the journey of healing. Because as much as we opened the episode and talked about, again, the crazy, the delusional, da 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 da, this is something. This is so much deeper than just lying about being married to someone. It's deeper than that. And so be sensitive, because your questioning could literally create a breakthrough for your friend. It could really break her heart wide open and say, like, oh my God, like, why am I doing this? What is it about this old relationship that has me latched on? So just be sensitive and approach with compassion. I think that I think that you have a good sense of how to do that, because you included a lot of those words when you wrote into us that you want to do this in a compassionate way instead of
Yeah,
you care about her. So just be gentle. Be gentle, but be honest. Be gentle, but lay it out there. And be prepared for all outcomes. She may receive it very well, she may not. And if she doesn't, give her space. Just say, you know what, I get it. I know you're upset. I'm here when you're ready.
100%.
I'm here when you're ready. So we hope we were able to help. I want to read a couple of comments of the people who gave some some advice or just some tips here. Brianna said, I'm learning that people use the word friend too loosely. Agreed. This had me giggling. I don't know if you saw when Gloria's comment popped up. I have one real friend, and we straight up with each other 25 years, and we are genuine friends. One coffee friend, one tea friend, and that's enough. Everyone else is just that. Everyone else. I love that. I love that. Listen, you gotta be honest
100%.
about what's what and what you can and can't handle. Everybody doesn't need 20 friends. My mom always said you just need one good one. Just one good one. Just one good one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have a real love scenario and you want to write in, head over to our website, relationshiprestored.com, and write into the show. We love to help. And be sure to join the community as well. It's lit there, it's fun there, it's safe there. So we
It
appreciate you
is.
coming in, hanging out with us. You still got some time before we do our virtual meet and greet. So you can join tonight if you have not joined, so you can be on the chat live with us tomorrow in the community. And follow us
100%.
on social media. Jesus, I almost forgot that. I'm at Garden
That is Joy Smith.
and at Relationship Restored. And we'll see you